हरि ओम। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। In the study of Brahma Sutra, the preface given by Shankaracharya, which is Adhyasa Bhashya, we are trying to see what is Adhyasa. In a very simple, crude words, when something is mistaken as something else, it is called Adhyasa, Brahma, Mithya Jnana, etc. Taking the clue from this superimposition or Adhyasa, a great fundamental postulate has been given by Shankaracharya, and that is the world is a superimposition. So Jagat is a adhyasa on, it is a misplaced thing, but there has to be something on which it is misplaced, and that substratum, that thing on which it is misplaced, is Brahma, or the reality, or the consciousness, or the Chaitanya, or the Atman, whatever we call it, the ultimate reality. Brahman Satyam Jagan Mithya. The world is unreal. So this is Adhyasta or Aropita. That thing called world is not existing here. Actually, what is existing, the truth, is Brahma, which is Adhisthana. The rope is the truth. Snake is implanted on it. It is superimposed on it. How will we come to know that it is superimposed on it? The only way to know it is to know the Adhisthana or the substratum. Adhyastha or Aropita or superimposed, do we know it? We know it completely. How? All our vyavahar is based on this superimposition. The snake appear so true to me that I have already started sweating. I am scared. I want to run away. That means, although the snake is a false superimposition, I have started acting, behaving as if it is true, and I have not even an iota of knowledge that it is rope. Taking this analogy, I am working in this world, transacting, getting married, begetting children, having friends, going for job, earning money, all things I'm doing because I think world is real. So realistic it appears to me that it appears absolutely insane if somebody tells me that this world is not true. And why go anywhere else? Even amongst us, those who are studying Brahma Sutra, even though we are sitting for the discussion of Adhyasa Bhashya, we ourselves are so confirmed about the truth of the world that after the satsang is over, I'm supposed to go to the office. And I do not say that a false me is going to a false office to earn the false money. We don't say that. Not only that the world appears true to me, I am convinced about it. There is a conviction in my mind about the truth of the world. Exactly opposite of that is the postulate fundamental of Shankaracharya. He says, no, the world does not exist. How do we reconcile? On one side, there is one person standing with his staff, a tridanda in his hand, saying that world is unreal. And the entire world is standing on the other side saying that, sir, you are stupid. We are staying in the world. It is all true. Now the question is, either we are true or the Acharya is true. Now, actually, the Acharya should be asking a question to us that if you feel the world is true, prove me. Instead, we are dull-witted. So we are asking Acharya, if it is unreal, prove me. And Acharya has taken the challenge of proving that the world is unreal. And that is why for all such people yet to come, who have come, who had come, for all of them, he has given a compendium, a scripture, as a final answer to why the world is unreal. It is called Brahma Sutra. And that is why when he starts his Adhyasa Bhashya, now we are starting the Adhyasa Bhashya of Shankaracharya. Adhyasa Bhashya is not part of Brahma Sutra. It is a special purpose commentary written before starting the Brahma Sutra by Shankaracharya. Each word is so chosen in the most divine language called Sanskrit that every word cannot be moved anywhere, here and there while interpreting it. So he starts his Adhyasa Bhashya with Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means you yourself presume the opponent's view and then thrash it. This is a classical approach of Indian rishis. When you want to put forth a postulate or an argument, you imagine the counter argument by taking yourself as your own opponent and present them first, and then threadbare counter argue it so that a conclusion can be drawn out of it. So all the opponent's views are coming in Purva Paksha. So the Adhyasa Bhashya starts with the Purva Paksha. The first statement in Adhyasa Bhashya is Yushmad Asmad Pratyaya Gochara Yoho Vishaya Vishayina. Only 5 words. asmad, yushmad, yours and mine. In this world, there are only two things commonly seen, yours and mine, or that and me, Vishaya and Vishayi. Vishaya, object, Vishayi, subject. The world can be defined as a place where something is objectified and there is a subject to comprehend or apprehend the object. Imagine a world without subject and object. The world cannot exist. For the transaction to happen, two things are required. Transactor, that which is transacted, and the act of transaction. I am listening to the song. There has to be a listener. There has to be a song. There has to be a process of listening. This is called a triputi. Vishaya, the word Vishaya has come from Sanskrit root called Shin. Shin means bandhane, that which binds. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Gandha, Rupa, Deha, Buddhi, Indriya, all these are Vishaya. We normally have a concept as Vishaya or object means some object like television, mobile phone, etc. That is also an object, but even the Indriyas are objects. Deha is an object. Buddhi is an object. All objects are called Jada. So, Vishaya, Vishayi. Acharya says, there are only two things in the world, Vishaya and Vishayi. And this is actually the Purva Paksha. The Purva Paksha is telling Acharya that in this world there are only Vishaya and Vishayi, and Yushmad and Asmad, mine as yours. Now question comes, why Acharya has not used the words Aham and Idam or Mama and Idam? That is because Idam Vibhakti had Samanya Adhikarana. It is possible. Those we people, these we people, that is how we use the word. Ime vayam, these we. That's why in order to show the extreme opposite, he has used the word Asmad and Yushmad. Asmad, Yushmad can never come together. Yours and mine, they can never come together. They're diametrically opposite. What is yours cannot be mine. What is mine cannot be yours. So to show the extreme opposition, Acharya is using this word. He says, you and I can never be one, but we are always two entities. Asmat, Yushmad. And then he says in the second statement, Vishaya Vishayina Tamaha Prakashavat Viruddha Swabhava Yoho Itara Bhavanupapattau Siddhayam. The opposite party is saying, sir, mine, yours, subject, object, these are tamaha prakashavat viruddha swabhavayoho. Like darkness and light, they are opposite. That means perceiver and perceived, subject and object, pramata and prameya, vishayi and vishaya are diametrically opposite like darkness and light. Tad dharmanam api sutaram itaretar bhavanupapatti. Their characters are so different, subject and object. They are even by dharma, by characters, by attributes, they are completely opposite to each other. There is no similarity. Why? Because Vishayi is a Chaitanya He's a Chaitanya Yukta. That is why he's able to receive the knowledge from the object, while the object is Anitya, Jadatva. So dharma for Vishaya is Anityata, Jadatva. Dharma for Pramata, subject, is he is Chaitanya Yukta. He may not see. Subject means when we say personally subject, Sharira is not Chaitanya, but this Sharira has Chaitanya in it. So the Pramata, the perceiver, I become the perceiver not because of the body, because of the presence of Chaitanya in me. So subject is Chaitanya Yukta. Object is without Chaitanya, in the sense Jada. There is Chaitanya in that, but it doesn't have, it has Jadatva. So that is why Paraspara Bhava, having common dharma, is not there. So this is Atma Vishayak, that is Anatma Vishayak. That means in this world, Atma, Anatma things are constantly interacting. One who has a Chaitanya, one who has a Jadatva. So there is a something called Chit and Jada. One is Prakashaka, another is Prakashya. Subject, object. And that is why adhyasa of these two cannot happen. You are saying Jaga or Jagat is adhyasa or superimposition on Brahman. But sir, they are not similar at all. How adhyasa can happen? Let us take example of darkness and light. Darkness is superimposed on light. Can it happen? It cannot happen, sir. They are so viruddha svabhava. That means sama swabhavatva is slightly required. Rope is looking like a snake. Why? Because rope is also of the same diameter, approximately like a snake. The length of the rope is almost like a snake. The rope is also coiled like a snake. That means there are some characteristics similar between these two. So there is adhyasa. So it looks like a snake. But Jagat is completely different. Consciousness is completely different. Consciousness is ever conscious. And everything in this world is a Jada. How they can get superimposed? Think about this. It is worth thinking. How can there be agreed? You are talking about superimposition, Shankaracharya Maharaj, you are talking about superimposition, but for superimposition, there is a condition. And the condition is, these two things should have at least, for example, I stay in Mumbai and I went to Delhi. And in Delhi, I saw my 1-year-old child. And I got startled that my child is in Delhi. And then I suddenly realized that no, my child cannot be here. What happened? For a moment, there was an adhyasa. Why the adhyasa took place? Because that child was looking similar to my child. Some dharma, because he was 1-year-old, dharma. He was this much in height, dharma. He was fair in color, dharma. He had curly hair, dharma. So some similarity between that misplaced child and my child was there. So there was adhyasa. How there can be adhyasa between Vishwa or Jaga and Chaitanya when they are diametrically opposite? One is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Prakash. Another is Anitya, Nirbuddha, Tamavat, Jada. And you say there is a superimposition. See, the opposite party is now the Purva Paksha is also well-studied Paksha. Of course, it is created by Shankaracharya himself. But the logic, the tarka, because this is tarka prasthana. Brahma Sutra is tarka prasthana. So to understand is also constantly we'll have to use our logic. Logical impossibility. If this is logically impossible, then the answer is given now by Shankaracharya. This is called Siddhanta Paksha. Answer to the query that is raised. What is the answer? Tathapi Anyonya Asmin Anyonyatmaka अन्योन्य धर्माश्च अध्यस्य इतरेतरम अविवेकेन अत्यंत विविक्तयो धर्म धर्मिनो मिथ्या ज्ञान निमित्त सत्यानृते मिथुनि कृते अहम इदम ममेदम इति नैसर्गिक अयम लोक व्यवहारः. What is the meaning of this long Sanskrit sentence? In this sentence, Acharya has used itaretaram avivekena. So first thing he is trying to say, you say that imposition, superimposition is not possible, but it is possible, or it has happened because of avivekena, inability to distinguish between what is anatma and what is atma, what is a vishaya and what is a vishayi, what is chaitanya, what is a jada, what is nitya, what is anitya. This is not being differentiated because of avivekena. Tathapi. So Acharya is saying, I agree with what you say. Even then, due to absence of viveka, discrimination between these attributes, dharma of Vishayi and Vishaya, as well as between the different dharmas, because of mixing of, now this is important, because of mixing of Satya, Nruta, Anruta, Satya, Anruta, true and false is so nicely blended. What is the word for this blending? Mithunikkruta. Mithunikkruta. Two opposites are nicely blended. Are they blended? They are not. Do they appear blended? Yes, they do. Why do they appear blended? Avivekena. They are actually separate, but they appear blended. Satya Anruta Mithunikrutena. And it is so nicely blended that it leads to mithya jnana nimitta. And what happens? What is the result of that? Aham idam mama idam iti loka vyavaharaha. That leads to the worldly transaction. This is mine, this is yours, he came, I went, my family, his family. This loka vyavahara is possible because of Satyanruta Mithuni Krute. Reality and unreality has mixed, blended together because of aviveka. That is why two actually distinguishable things have become indistinguishable because of lack of ability to distinguish avivekena. So Satya Anruta Mithuni Krutena. Jnanadeva Maharaj wrote Jnaneshwari, everybody knows. But Jnaneshwari was a tika on Bhagavad Gita. So his guru, Nivruttinath Maharaj, told him that Jnanadeva, you wrote such a beautiful commentary on Bhagavad Gita, but that is what Bhagavad Gita, what it says, you said. You have not written about your own experience. And what experience Jnanadeva had? Experience of Amrutatva. So he wrote his second compilation, Amruta Anubhava. In that Amruta Anubhava, he has written his experience, and in the beginning itself, he talks about how the world is created by Satyanruta Mithuni Krute. So, blending of reality and unreality influences human behavior based on self-identification as I am this and this is mine. This is the result of mithya jnana, and mithya jnana is adhyasa. The whole purpose of Brahma Sutra is to prove that Brahmam Satyam Jagan Mithya. To prove that the entity that is to be proven is Adhyasa. The Adhyasa is Aropita Jnana. That leads to what is called as Mithya Jnana. So all the knowledge that we get, all the secular knowledge that we get has relevance and validity only in Vyavhara. It has no validity whatsoever in Alaukika Jnana. Alaukika Jnana is completely different than the Laukika Jnana. So Loka Vyavhara is a transaction based on the Laukika Jnana. I am this is mine. And if this is not there, Vyavhara is not possible at all. In other words, Acharya is saying, Jagat itself is existing on the basis of this wrong knowledge. If this wrong knowledge of subject and object is not there, for such a person, there is no world, sir. Can there be people where there is no subject-object identification? Yes, there can be. They are called Jivan Mukta. So for the Jivan Mukta, then what happens? First of all, he is not a subject anymore. Moment you are not a subject anymore, there cannot be any object, because object is objectified by the subject. There is a television. The television has got the word, the name television, because somebody watches it. If there is nobody to watch the television, it will not be called only television. So the object lose their significance when the subject is not there. And when subject is not there, object is not there, where is the transaction between subject and object? That means in the world, by falsely identifying me as subject and others are object, transaction is born, world is born. So what is the beginning of the world? The moment subject and object are born. What is the end of the world? Moment subject-object relationship is over. There is no Vishayi, there is no Vishaya. So the sequence of whole thing is first Adhyas. First Adhyas means first Sarpadnyan. If Sarpadnyan is not there, nothing will happen. You will not run away. There is no sweating, nothing. Why? Because you recognized it as a rope. So where is the question of Adhyas is not there? If Adhyas is not there, world is not there. That means first false identification or superimposition. So first world has to be superimposed. So first is Adhyasa. Adhyasa leads to Mithya-jnana. Mithya-jnana means, oh, there is a snake. Adhyas. What is Mithya-jnana? The snake seems to be pretty long. It might be very poisonous. All the conclusions that I am drawing on the snake are on the false snake, but I think it is real. So the world is false, but then my conclusion, because I think it is real, the conclusion starts. And what are the conclusions? In this world, you have to earn money. In this world, you have to get married. In this world, I exist. In this world is real. Those trees, those mountains, these things, that thing, and there is one way to lead the world. Modern management techniques, upwardly mobile, there is an invention of mobile phone, there is a Nobel scientist, there is a literature. All this is Mithya Jnanam. I know it sounds very jarring to the ears. Everything that we are doing is all Adhyasa. It is Adhyasa. On Adhyasa, because if you don't think world is real, Jnanam, all this Mithya Jnana will be over. But first you think it as a snake, then you start describing the snake, then you create a science out of how to defend in front of the snake. Then you call somebody as, wow, he is a great man because he's able to defend the snake properly. But the snake itself is not existing, sir. That is why, howsoever successful the person may be in this illusory world, he is never ever free from pain, sorrow, because that is the result of mithya jnana. We are trying to mitigate the sorrow in our life. I'm poor, so I must earn money, and once that is done, I'll be done. I am unsuccessful, let me be successful, and then I'll be happy. It is such an irony of our life that we are chasing happiness unabated from our childhood, thinking that in this world, happiness can be obtained and can be kept forever, which is an absolute falsity, because it is based on mithya jnana. Whatever you may do in this world, it will not result in permanent happiness or bliss, simply because in this world where you're trying to get permanent happiness, it itself is impermanent. So Acharya says there is a mithya jnana pratiti, and that is how your entire loka vyavahar is happening. This sequence of adhyasa, mithya jnana and mithya jnana pratiti is called satyanrute mithuni krutya in this particular statement. Deha, indriya, buddhi is anaruta, chidatma is satya. These two dharmi, two different people, form a couple. Why couple? Because mithuni kruta means the husband and the wife. They are different entities, they have different dharmas. Still they come together to create enjoyment. In Sanskrit, the word for that is sambhog, samabhog. Both equally get the pleasure. One alone on its own cannot get pleasure. Coming together, they get the pleasure. The pleasure is neither existing in either of them, but it exists when they come together. Mithuni kruta. Satya, anruta. Untruth and truth came together, and that is how loka vyavahara came up. Satyam chidatma anruta buddhi indriya dehadi te dve dharmani mithuni kruta yugali krutya. There is a grantha called Bhamati. Vachaspati Mishra Maharaj, we have already mentioned about it. He wrote this grantha. What was his purpose of writing the grantha? He was writing the grantha on the Bhashya of Shankaracharya on Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra had a Bhashya by Shankaracharya, which we are studying. This Bhashya was further studied and commented upon by Vachaspati Mishra Maharaj in Bhamati, in which he has explained this. So, Rajju is Sat Adhisthana Vastu, snake or Sarpa is Asat Adhyastha Vastu, but Sarpa Aropa is done on Rajju and Palayan, etc. Vyavahara occurs. Adhyastha and Adhisthana can never have Paramarthika Aikya, but they have what is called Adhyasika Aikya, similarity by superimposition. World and Brahman, they have united with each other as if because of Adhyasa, not in actuality. Because those who are in Paramarthika Satta, Turyavastha, Samadhi Avastha, they clearly see the difference between the two. That is why a Sufi says, कभी इस घर में आ बैठे, कभी उस घर में आ बैठे. Meaning, sometimes they are in Paramarthik Satta for the sake of Loka Kalyan, they come in Vyavaharika Satta, knowing fully well that this is Vyavaharika Satta. That is why Veda Adhikruta Jnanam, everything is Mithya. But in Mithyatva, in this Mithya world, in this Adhyasa, the only way to get out of Adhyasa is through Veda. So, it is called Samvadi Brahma. So there are two types of fallacies or Brahma. When the child is put to sleep by the mother, she says that, look, if you don't sleep, then that demon will come. Now what happens? The demon is not existing. Child believes in the demon, and then what happens? The result is he sleeps. So what happened? Even though it is fallacious, it resulted into a good thing. So in this Adhyastha Vishwa, either you get completely waylaid by this world, for example, doing murders, greed, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsar, it is all acting in fallacious world. But in this fallacious world itself, in this Mithya Vishwa itself, in this Adhyastha Vishwa itself, in the Adhyastha Jagat itself, if you do things like Navavidha Bhakti, Puja, Archana, Karma, Satkarma, Yajna, Tapa, Dana, etc., then what happens? That is also false. But it leads to a good result. So it is called Samvadi Brahma. Sasa sasa para naam le vrutha sasa na khoye. Kabir Maharaj says, every breath take the name of Lord Rama. Now Lord Rama is also creation in the world. Taking naam also is creation of the world. And creation of the world means Adhyastha means false. But in falsity, by having recourse to this Samvadi Brahma, there is a possibility of yours to come out of the falsity. This is called Paramarthik Aikya. In Vyavhar, if you stay, you will never ever come to know that the Jagat is Adhyastha or superimposed or false Brahma. That is why we have a problem. We say, how can world be unreal? I'm right now talking and you're telling me it is not existing. The talk is also not existing. The satsang is not existing. It just cannot sink in us. That is why there are two types of adhyasa that takes place. One is aham idam. I am a man. This is called tadatmya adhyas. That is why in this satsang, I am talking. It's tadatmya adhyas. And what is samsarga adhyas? Others are listening. Samsarga adhyas. Both are false. Talking is false. Talker is false. Listener is also false. But they appear so true, and that is why Loka Vyavahara takes place. After discussing this much, then Acharya asks in Adhyasa Bhashya the next question, Aha, Koyam Adhyaso Nama Iti? Tell me, Aha, Koyam Adhyaso Nama Iti? What is Adhyasa? And then the answer to that given in the most compact manner, Sutra. Sutra Krutau Vande, Bhagavanto Punah Punah. Because Sutra form he gives, Smruti Rupaha Paratra Purva Drushtava Bhasaha. We have seen in the last session the complete meaning of this, which is called Smruti Rupaha Paratra Purva Drushtava Bhasaha. Meaning of this in English, unreal manifestation of something previously perceived and which is of the nature of remembrance appearing on something else is called adhyasa. So we have seen what is paratra drushtava bhasaha. Everything of that has been seen earlier. Up to this point, in just 3 lines of Adhyasa Bhashya, Acharya has explained world is adhyastha, Brahma is adhishthana, but because of their mithunik krute, because unreal and real satyanruta mithunikritya, it appears real and the loka vyavhara takes place. Now comes the very basic question. Understood superimposition, this world let us consider for the sake of understanding that the world is unreal. Brahma is real. I have not seen Brahma. No one has experienced, at least amongst us. But let us say that if there is something called Brahma, and let us also agree to Acharya that this world is unreal. But the question comes, how do I come to know that this is unreal? One, and I have to also understand what is the methodology. See, for that matter, if I want to know this pain, for this pain, I have my eyes, my brain, and the pain. So I look at the pain, I say, this is a pain. So jnana, I had a jnana of this writing instrument with the help of my indriya called eye, and my brain realized that this is a writing instrument. So this is my way of taking jnana. So now the question comes that whether, if the world is unreal, in this world, my methodology of obtaining jnanam in this world, are those methods sufficient to know the Brahman also or not? When we go to the other country, we ask a question, can I use my country's currency here? And the answer is no. You have to use this country's currency. In the similar manner, the method of my knowledge gaining, method of my getting knowledge, is it valid here? Up to this point, it is understood. The gentleman is asking that Brahmam Satyam Jagan Mithya, Acharya is saying, and I tentatively agree to that. I want to now know that I am hell-bent on knowing Brahma. So let me understand how Brahma will be understood. I can see a mango and I call it as a mango. So Brahma will come to me in front of like that, a small mango. No, but Brahma is all pervasive and only one existing in the world. And I am too small a person. Mango is smaller than me and it is within the scope of my indriya, so I am able to see it. That which is not within the scope of my indriya, how can I see it? That means my pratyaksha pramana, will it come in the use or no? Then a question comes to the mind, forget about the pramana, forget about the methodology. I am knowledgeable about mango, I am knowledgeable about tree. Means what? Now we are coming to the fundamental question, what is a jnana? In Vyavhar, what is jnana? This is the first fundamental question is, what is a jnana? One, what are the ways and methods of taking this jnana? Two, and third is, how can I get the jnana of the Brahma so that the adhyasa goes away? And there is one more question. You say snake is imposed on the rope. From where the snake came? Rope is actually existing. It looked, or it snake appeared on that, agreed. But I have the knowledge of snake, isn't it? Somewhere I have seen the snake. That's why when I look at the rope, I said, oh, it is a snake. So I have pre-knowledge, prior knowledge of snake. So when I say Jagat is appearing on Brahman, I must have previous knowledge of the Jagat. Now, from where this previous knowledge of Jagat came? Again, logic. This is Tarka Prasthan. We have to constantly use logic. Snake came on the rope simply because I know rope, I know snake. I know both. Currently, I don't know the ropes. That's why only snake I am giving the preference. Here you say Brahma and Jagat. Jagat is in the place of snake. But that snake on the rope was seen by me previously somewhere, or I had the knowledge of that snake. So similarly, I must be having knowledge of this world, Jagat, earlier. Is it so that this knowledge of the world came from some other place and got imposed on the Brahma? Or it came from my buddhi? Or it is not at all there on the superimposition? That is the fourth question. These four questions once answered, then the study of Brahma Sutra is going to be easier relatively for us. So first is, what is jnana? One. And why the jnana is necessary? Knowledge is necessary because it is the only instrument available to know the truth. First thing, let us be clear. I run from one place to another place. So I did a kriya. This is not going to help me in understanding anything because this is a kriya. Jnana is a tangible thing that involves nothing but the process of thinking to obtain the knowledge of something. In other words, if I do not know there is a wall, if I don't have the knowledge of the wall, I will bang on it while walking. So I need knowledge at every nook and corner to lead my life. So in a Vyavaharika Vishwa, knowledge of so many things is required so that you can conduct your behavior in this world. So knowledge is basically, first of all, it is a cognitive phenomena. Cognition. You cognize things around you. Thus, when a knowledge happens, when a jnanam happens, it should happen to somebody. First constituent of knowledge is it should happen to somebody. That somebody is called pramata. The knowledge should happen to somebody about something. Prameya, vishay, subject, object. It should happen. Knowledge happens to somebody. That somebody is called pramata or subject. Knowledge happens of something is called object or prameya. And how it happens, how I know a mango. So mango is an object. I am the subject. I know the mango. That process of knowing is called pramana. Pramana. And then the basic condition is, for every knowledge, there has to be a pramata, subject, prameya, object, and the transaction between the two through a valid means of knowledge called pramana. So the jnana can be defined as awareness of an object for a subject through a method of becoming aware. There has to be a method, and that method is called pramana. So pramana utpanna yathartha jnana is called prama. We are slowly coming to the technical world because we are going towards adhyasa. Basics first. Pramata, prameya, pramana. And output is knowledge, jnana. So pramana utpanna yathartha jnana. Pramana utpanna means there has to be some methodology. If the method is wrong, if the praman is wrong, jnana will be wrong. So pramana utpanna it should be, and it should be yathartha. Yathartha means it should mean something. If it is not creating the meaning out of it, what is the point on having that jnana? Pramana, methodology of taking the knowledge. Now, everybody will say, I have a different method of taking knowledge. No. All the methods of taking knowledge or methodology of knowledge, which is called epistemology, has been studied by the philosophers as well as the rishis, and they have set the number of pramanas. The maximum pramanas can be 6. In other words, the ways by which you as a subject, pramata, can get the knowledge about the object, prameya, are only 6 in nature's number. There cannot be 7th. What are those 6? One is pratyaksha pramana. This is pain. Pratyaksha pramana. Usage of indriya, just forget about it. I am the subject, this is the object, and it is right in front of me. Pratyaksha jnana. Pratyaksha, you are seeing me on the mobile. Pratyaksha jnana. Next is anuman. So pratyaksha jnana is laukika indriya janya jnana. Second is anuman. In anumana, it is not pratyaksha in front of you, but you infer, inference. If A is there, B exists. And at C, same thing is happening, so there must be B there. For example, I was given a food to eat, but I don't have a doubt that this food will satisfy me. Why I don't have a doubt? You can have a doubt because you are not yet eaten so far. The food is right in front of you, but you have not yet eaten. Still you feel that I must eat it because it will satisfy me. How did you come to the knowledge that it would satisfy me? Because previously when I ate the food, it had satisfied me. So I inferred that it will satisfy me. Anumana pramana. Third is shabda pramana. Shabda pramana meaning you rely on somebody's word. You're working in Middle East, your family is in India, and a phone call comes from your mother saying that, congratulations, you have a baby boy. Now, you have not seen the baby boy. You cannot infer the baby boy, but you believe in Yathartha Vakta, your mother. This is called Shabda Praman. Right now, right here, we are studying Brahma Sutra. We don't know Brahma, yet we are listening or reading from that man's lips who claims that he knows Brahman. Because we believe that Shankaracharya is a Yathartha Vyakti. This is called Shabda Jnana. So Veda is Shabda Jnana. Then there is Upamana. Upamana, for example, none of us might have not seen reindeer. Reindeer we have not seen, but we have seen deer. Hiran, deer we have seen. So somebody tells me that, if you go to alpine lands in Northern Europe, you will see reindeer. It looks like our own deer, Hiran. And I went to Norway or whichever that place is, and I saw a reindeer. I have never seen it earlier. But because I was told that reindeer looks like a deer, this must be reindeer. Jnana Utpanna. This is called Upaman. Suppose you have not seen bison at all. But people say bison looks exactly like buffalo. Only thing is the forehead is little wider and the horns are very strong. And I see a bison, never seen in my life, but I recognize Upaman. There is a fifth way of knowing knowledge called Arthapatti. Arthapatti means there is apatti of artha. The meaning falls out of conjunction. And the simple and commonest example is, there is a student who did not appear for the examination, but he became topper in the university. This happens in India. What is the conclusion? Immediately you say, oh, he must be a minister's son. This is called Arthapatti. You deduced the meaning by the existing set of circumstances and connected it. This is called arthapatti. And there is a last and the sixth pramana of jnana called anupalabdhi. Now this is classical of Advaita Vedanta. Whatever is existing, you have a knowledge of it. The pen in front of me, it is existing. So this is pratyaksha jnana. But now also I have a jnana that it is not existing in front of me. Pratyaksha jnana is when it is existing in front of me. But when it is not existing, I'm also aware that the pen is not existing in front of me. For example, right now I'm talking. I'm not sitting in the car. So I am not sitting in the car is also knowledge. Anupalabdhi. It is called abhava nishchaya. Right now, we are talking in Dubai. I am not in India. Is also a knowledge I have right now. So abhava nishchaya anupalabdhi is the sixth. So there are 6 pramana of getting the knowledge. So in this world, in this jagat, whatever jnanam that we take, whether it is theory of relativity, research scientist, chemistry lab, wife, husband, eating, non-eating, all this is classified by only 6 ways you get the jnana. So that is why pratyaksha, anumana, shabda, upamana, arthapatti and anupalabdhi. When the knowledge is obtained through these pramanas, then it is called prama. Pramana utpanna yathartha jnana. Why are we trying to say this? Because our main aim is to come to adhyasa. To come to adhyasa. What is adhyasa? We have already seen superimposition of false on the truth. Agreed. This is also called as Brahma. Adhyasa is also called as Brahma. And Brahma is opposite of Yathartha Jnana. Brahma is opposite of Prama. Brahma or Adhyasa is opposite of Prama. So first we should know opposite. Then we can study more about Adhyasa or Brahma. So to know Prama means Jnana. We saw all this discussion and came to a conclusion or a definition that Pramana Purvaka Yathartha Jnana is Prama. This brings us to certain conclusions which will help us in understanding Adhyasa. Acharya is talking about Adhyasa because at the end of Adhyasa Bhashya, he writes that after discussing so much of Adhyasa, how to know that Jagat Mithya is what I am going to tell in Brahma Sutra. So the prayojana of Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Shankaracharya is telling in Adhyasa Bhashya that Adhyasa is the one that I am going to prove while doing Bhashyam on Brahma Sutra. So there are 2 aspects to Brahma Sutra. One, to talk about the nature of ultimate truth or reality called Brahma. This is one way. This is called Anvaya. Or talking about the falsity of everything else so that truth is already established. You say world is false, naturally Brahman will become truth. Or you say Brahma is truth, everything else will become false. This is called Anvaya Vyatireka Bhasha. Negative positive approach. To know Adhyas, we first try to know what is Yathartha Jnana or Prama. So that Yathartha Jnana, which is Brahma or Adhyasa, can be understood. But that brings us to a very valid question. And the valid question is, how jnana takes place. Bahya padartha jnana paddhati. It's not as simple as that we see, okay, it's because my eyes, my indriyas, I see something and that is how I get knowledge. It goes threadbare into the detail to understand who gets the knowledge, who thinks that he has got the knowledge, who is responsible for knowledge. These are subtle layers of understanding of production of knowledge. Pramata, prameya, pramana. Agreed. These three things are required, otherwise jnanam is not possible in vyavaharika vishwa. But can there be knowledge without pramana? And what do you call that? Because pramana janya jnana, yathartha jnana is called prama. But that which is without pramana, for example, dukkha. What is the pramana for dukkha? It is not pratyaksha, not anuman, not shabda, not nothing. Yet you feel unhappy. Dukkha. It is not in front of you. Dukkha. Pratyaksha no. Anuman no. So from where dukkha originates? And dukkha is actually real. I suffer. So dukkha is not prama. Not jnana. Yathartha jnana. Is it ayathartha? All these questions we will have sorted out in the method of obtaining knowledge. Bahya padartha jnana paddhati in the next session. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om Sanjay Ji. Sanjay Ji, I'm assuming the diagram you will discuss in the next lecture. Yes. Okay. I think Rajendra Ji has a clarification.
Yeah. Thank you. There are many questions, but I will ask one or two questions only because others would also need time. First of all, this Amrita Anubhava, is there a book available for Amrita Anubhava?
Yes.
Of Jnaneshwari Maharaj? It is there. Okay. Now we are discussing only. We are discussing only the prameya, but which is also again Jada only we are discussing. We haven't to reach to prama or the pure knowledge. We have to rule out all this as unreal or not existing actually. That so ruling out is the process going on now.
Yes, but before ruling out, it is necessary to come to the conclusions that the methodology of taking the knowledge in the Vyavaharik Vishwa through the Pramanas, can it be a true method which can be applied for the knowledge of Brahman or not? So Acharya's words.
Whether the route is correct or not, that has to be established. The Acharya is trying to establish the route is perfect, isn't it?
Yes.
Pramada, prameya, in between pramana is there, which is a transitory thing. Oh, the whole thing is going to or leading us to prama, the pure knowledge. Here, unlike my previous understanding, I haven't come to that depth. So there are some corrections taking place, which I can understand that we will discuss it later. Okay, now I'll just ask one question only. When Sri Ram was Hanuman was asked by Sri Ram, Hanuman, who are you? Tum kaha. Then Hanuman said one principle there. Bhagavan, Deha Buddhyatu Dasoham Jnana buddhya, deha buddhya tu dasoham, Jnana buddhya todamshagaha. Something like that. And deha buddhya tu dasoham, todamshaga, that means Jnana buddhya todamshaga, and then finally comes this Brahma Vidya. I mean, just now I can't recollect that. Finally, he says, in terms of this knowledge, pure knowledge, I am you only. So that level we are coming.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, because we are studying nature of Brahma. The Brahma nature, Mimamsa we are doing. Ultimate Bhauma or Vastu Mimamsa. So we are going towards that only in the last part of identification.
Yeah. So through this route, we need all these Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumanam, and Shabda Pramanam, Upamanam, Arthabhati, and Anupalapti. All these 6 stages or 6 methodology have to be discussed, which we have touched partly. Then now going forward, it will be further discussed, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Well described. Thank you very much.